we're beginning to talk about macros. Here's the macro put statement. So suppose I define a couple of variables right to begin with here. I'm going to let vars equal English, Math, and Science, and class is statistics. Then the next thing I want to do is write that to the log window in SAS. So I'm going to write my macro variables are and vars. And you can see how in the log statement it goes ahead and writes that out. My macro variables are English, Math, and Science. So you can automatically write your macro variables to the log window. Just like we've been writing, just use the regular put statement to write regular variables that are defined within a data step. Now, because macro variables are defined in the middle of nowhere, we can write them to the log window also in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of our program. Here's another thing you can do. I can put my user-defined macro variables in the log window, and you can see how it spits that out right away, global vars and global class. So in other words, instead of calling them macro variables, SAS calls them global variables. That's another name for them. The idea being that you can use them anywhere. They're really truly global. So those are the variables, the macro variables that I defined. In other words, they're user defined. Here are some that are automatic. So let's put the automatic variables in the window here. You can see that it puts several things in there. It already has the system date is defined as today's date, June 28th. Today's day is Wednesday. It's got my username in here, E. Young. So it's got some things that you can use if you need them. So you can do silly things like put I am sys user ID, so I am E. Young. Here's another thing you can do. If you want to say, read in this data set, I've got a bunch of variables in it, that's not important. And then say I'm going to let vars be these variables. I can title this using today's date is the system date and the system day. So no matter what day this program is run, it'll have the date that it was run and the day of the week already in the title. And also, if you're going to run a whole bunch of procedures, say a means procedure, a frequency, a regression, and a couple other things, and you're going to use all of that with the same 4 variables or the same 20 variables, it may behoove you to go ahead and put those in a macro variable, and then you can just write and variables all the time, and it'll just save you a little shortcut there. And it's the same thing as using writing math, science, and social studies as my 4 variables there in that variable statement for the proc means.